That's it for us this morning. Remember, we're always on at CBS2.com. I'm Suzanne Rico.
I'm Henry DiCarlo.
I'm Vera Jimenez.
I'm Ken Shocknick. Let's go straight to the shot. Alex Calder promised us from News Chopper 2, the sun reflecting on the windows of downtown Los Angeles.
Salmonella whistleblower, the stunning conditions inside that peanut plant that sickened more than 500 people and killed at least 8. Now a worker exposes the horrendous conditions.
A rat was dry roasted in the peanuts.
An exclusive early show investigation. All the president's men and their confirmation troubles. President Obama tries again with his Commerce Secretary nominee as tax troubles threaten his health nominee, Tom Daschle.
It was completely inadvertent. But that's no excuse. And I deeply apologize.
Are elephants being abused under the big top? A lawsuit against Ringling Brothers claims they are, and it's caught on tape.
I saw elephants hit. I saw elephants bleed. I saw what I call systematic daily abuse.
Plus, Scarlett Johansson on love and dating in the 21st century.
I think that's the unwritten rule, is that the guy should call the girl.
Early this Tuesday morning, February 3rd, 2009. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. From New York City, I'm Maggie Rodriguez here with Julie Chen and Harry Smith. And this morning, we are bringing you the results of our exclusive investigation into conditions at that peanut plant that the salmonella outbreak has been traced to. We've learned that violations included, among other things, rats and roaches in the peanuts. Inspectors knew about this. We are speaking with a former employee this morning and also a former FDA commissioner about what we can do and when.
Also this morning, we're going to talk about Michael Phelps, the picture that was displayed around the world from a newspaper in Britain. He, of course, has apologized, but where is the uproar? Where is the sort of backlash from all of this? We're going to discuss that this morning as well.
And do you know how much salt is in your diet? Most Americans consume nearly double the recommended amount. This morning, we'll take a look at some common foods and see how much salt they contain. You might be surprised by the results.
But we begin this morning with our early show exclusive investigation into the salmonella outbreak traced to a peanut processing plant in Georgia. Kellogg's has now announced it's recalling some of its Keebler brand cookies and Special K bars. The outbreak so far has killed at least 8 people and sickened more than 500 others. Early show national correspondent Jeff Glor is outside the plant this morning in Georgia. Good morning, Jeff.
Maggie, good morning to you. Georgia produces more peanuts than any other state in the country by far, and the people here are very proud of what they do, especially here in Blakely. But we found one worker who was not proud of the conditions he worked in.
29-year-old Jonathan Prather was one of 50 people who lost a job last month here when the Peanut Corporation of America shut down its plant in Blakely, Georgia.
Would you describe the factory as dirty?
Well, good range, yeah.
Prather describes a building in which roaches were a constant problem, an issue noted by health inspectors as they search for the source of a salmonella outbreak that has sickened more than 500 and been linked to 8 deaths.
Roaches get up in that dry roast and because some of they'll blend in with the peanuts. You'll never know they're there.
But 3 or 4 months ago, Prather says he saw something even more disturbing.
A rat was dry roasted in the peanuts.
A rat. And often, he says, rat droppings in the same area where the peanut butter was made, where Prather worked. Health inspectors say they found gaping holes in walls, but they did not report evidence of rodents or droppings. They did find holes elsewhere.
We've seen these reports about a hole in the roof. Was there a hole in the roof?
Yeah, it's plenty holes in the roof throughout the roof. And when it rained, water just come through the whole plant.
Mold was also noted by investigators, and mops washed in the same sink as peanut butter making equipment. Any of these alleged violations could be the source of salmonella, which the company's own documents say was discovered at least a dozen times. Peanut Corporation of America is accused of retesting the samples, lab shopping, until they got favorable results.
Does it sadden you when you see the people have gotten hurt because of this salmonella poisoning?
Yeah, it do, yeah.
Prather says he is talking now because his mother always raised him to tell the truth. And we should mention that other employees have been quoted saying they did not see problems like this. For now, the criminal investigation continues. Maggie?
Jeff Glor in Georgia, thank you. We're joined now by Dr. David Kessler, a former commissioner of the FDA. Good morning, Dr. Kessler.
Good morning, Maggie.
We just heard that inspectors admit that they found roaches and dirty mops being washed with the food equipment, but that was only when they went back after the outbreak. When they went just a few months earlier, they found no major violations. Why do you think that is?
You know, I think if there were ever an example that our food safety system is broken, this is it.
The New York Times has a big write-up this morning exposing how the FDA essentially had to get the company's permission last week before recalling all of its products, even though this company is under criminal investigation, even though it's been determined as the source of the outbreak. Why is that?
The nation's food safety laws were written 100 years ago, and it doesn't give FDA even the basic tools of record inspection or recall. It is absolutely essential that those laws be rewritten.
So do you think that the FDA right now lacks the authority or the courage to do the right thing when it comes to our food safety?
Regrettably, it lacks the authority. But there are several key bills in the Senate and the House, and they're excellent bills. Senator Durbin, Congresswoman DeLaura, they are very committed to fixing this problem. The problem is we don't have a system of preventive controls. We're always reacting in this country. It's always chasing the horse after it's out of the barn.
The president says that he has a commitment to fixing this problem as well, in fact, announcing that he will soon announce a new FDA commissioner. How soon do you think that should happen, and what should be that person's #1 priority?
I was very heartened to hear the new president talk about food safety as a priority. Getting a new commissioner in and quickly who has food safety as a top #1 priority, and getting FDA the authorities, getting Congress to pass new food safety legislation is a must.
In the meantime, what do we do? I mean, is this plant in Georgia the exception or the norm? Do we shut down all plants until inspectors can get in there right now and inspect them thoroughly?
I think we have the safest food system in the world, but that doesn't mean it can't be safer. And each of us has responsibilities, making sure that our food is well cooked, good hygiene. Those things are still important.
So overall, you would say the food I am eating is safe?
It's certainly safe, but our system is broken, and it needs to be improved, and it needs to be improved quickly.
All right, Dr. David Kessler, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Now here's Harry.
All right, Maggie, thanks. A confirmation hearing is scheduled next Tuesday for former Senator Tom Daschle, nominated for Secretary of Health and Human Services. Initially believed to be a shoo-in, Daschle has a big tax problem. We're joined by CBS News senior White House correspondent Bill Plant. Morning, Bill.
Morning, Harry. Daschle's problem shines a light on something that usually stays in the shadows around here, and that is how connections work in Washington. When is a lobbyist not a lobbyist? And how does a power player like the former Senate Majority Leader not know that he owes back taxes? Let's have a look at the Daschle dossier. When Daschle lost his seat in 2004 after 17 years in the Senate, he joined the law and lobbying firm of Alston & Bird, but he's not technically a lobbyist.
What Tom Daschle does is the more sophisticated kind of lobbying we have in Washington, where he's a consultant, and he talks to people about the strategy for getting a piece of legislation passed.
The Alston Bird firm represented a long list of clients in health services. Daschle also joined media investor Leo Hindery to chair a new company of regulatory experts. He was paid over $2 million, $83,000 of which was not reported because of a clerical error. Hindery also gave Daschle the use of his private car and driver. But it was only last June that Daschle asked his accountant if he owed taxes on the use of the car, and December when he paid $140,000 in taxes and penalties on the car and the unreported income.
Maybe the truth of the matter is you need some of those Washington insiders in order to make your new government work. But then let's say that.
Daschle says if he's confirmed, he'll take no part in any decisions affecting former clients. And he's now apologized to his former Senate colleagues and the public.
It was completely inadvertent. But that's no excuse. And I deeply apologize.
The Senate is almost certain to confirm Daschle next week. After all, he was one of them. The White House just wants to change the subject. The president wants to talk about the stimulus plan and its tax relief instead of about who owes back taxes. Harry?
All right, Bill Plant at the White House this morning. Thanks so much. And it's, I think, going to get harder for Tom Daschle. In the New York Times editorial page this morning, it says he ought to pull out. So we'll see what happens.
I've heard at least one person say, why should I pay my taxes if he didn't and he gets to be on the cabinet? So.
Russ Mitchell is at the news desk. We know you pay your taxes, Russ.
That's right.
Don't you?
Don't you forget it. Exactly. Good morning, guys, and good morning, everyone. Today, President Obama plans to nominate New Hampshire Senator Judd Gregg for Commerce Secretary. If confirmed, Gregg would be the third Republican in the Obama cabinet. The others are Defense Secretary Robert Gates and Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood. Hundreds of thousands of Americans remain without electric power this morning in areas hit by last week's ice storm. The entire Kentucky National Guard has been called into service to deal with the worst natural disaster in state history. Ice is also a big problem in Britain, where the biggest snowfall in nearly 20 years partly melted yesterday, then refroze overnight. CBS News correspondent Mark Phillips is in London's Kew Gardens this morning. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Russ. Well, welcome to London's winter wonderland. They don't get weather like this a lot around here, but when they do, forget about it. The place just about shuts down. As the storm hit, bus drivers either couldn't get to work or couldn't get their buses out of the garage when they got there. Anyway, there was all that snow to play with. There was more plowing than playing at London's airports, where they tried to keep at least one runway open, mostly unsuccessfully. Hundreds of flights were delayed or canceled. This one couldn't tell where the taxiway ended. Highways were jammed, trains canceled. Only one thing to do, play. This was a snowfall that became a reason to cancel school and not bother going to work. Somewhere credit may be crunching and the recession receding, but here there was another way to go downhill. The winter weather covered all of northwestern Europe. Pretty, but not very convenient. And the problem now with the skies clearing and the temperature dropping is not snow, but ice. Another reason, as you can see, for taking off from work and school. Russ?
Mark Phillips, if you can hit me with that snowball from there, I'll be really impressed. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. It is now coming up on 7:12. And Dave Price has been in icy ports and all sorts of places the last few days.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back. And you know what? We saw a little relief, Russ. Let's begin out in Kentucky and portions of the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, where we did see some relief with temperatures getting up into the 50s. Now, with all those folks still without power, we're seeing cold Arctic air come on down. Temperatures topping off in the teens now in some of those same locations. That's a big concern as we continue to try and beat the clock to get that power on. So cold air rolls in some portions of the Midwest in the single digits. And again, all that air going to push towards the east. In the meantime, let's zoom into the east right now. We have biting winds, Arctic air, and today into tomorrow, we have a coastal system which is going to roll on up. It's not the storm of the century. Nuisance snowed 2 to 4 inches right up along the mid-Atlantic coast into the northeast. But keep in mind, it's going to be a problem, and that cold air is going to sink down to the south as well. Meantime, out on the west coast, you're talking about 80-degree weather once again. And again, we're going to see big changes there towards the end of the week with rain rolling in and cooler conditions going to clear out the environment. Air quality has not been too good out there. That's a quick look at the national maps, everybody. Here's an early look at what's going on in your area.
Dave, thank you very much. We have a beautiful live shot. We could see Century City downtown in the distance. The wind is still a little bit of an issue, especially in the higher elevation areas, but temperature-wise, no issues. Lots of 80s. Cooler tomorrow, 75, still nice. Look at that. Kent, chance of rain Thursday and Friday.
Change is coming. Thanks, meteorologist Henry DiCarlo. I'm Kent Shocknick. Tomorrow morning, starting at 5 a.m., make cleaning your home easier. It's called a miracle cloth. We put it to the test. The results are shocking. Tomorrow on CBS 2 News between 5 and 7 a.m.
That's our quick look at our weather picture at 13 minutes past the hour. Julie?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Well, up next, more than 1,000 men and women turned out in Miami when just 35 jobs were posted. We'll tell you how and where to find a good job in this tough economy. Also ahead, where's the outrage? Is Michael Phelps getting a pass after being caught allegedly smoking pot? And hidden salt in foods, tips on where to find the sodium and how to cut it out of your diet. You're watching The Early Show on CBS. News about the nation's job market only gets worse day by day. Macy's now plans to eliminate 7,000 positions. And look what happened when the Miami Fire Department posted just 35 jobs. More than 1,000 people turned out to apply. Yet despite the dismal news, there are jobs to be found. We're joined by John Challenger, CEO of the placement firm Challenger, Gray & Christmas. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Julie.
Let's talk about the good news and the fields where people are hiring people out there. They are healthcare, education, the food industry, and core consumer products. Why are these industries bulletproof?
Well, these are the kinds of products and services that we all need. So even in a recession, we're still going to go out to the grocery store and buy our toothbrushes. We're going to still have to put our kids in school. So finding jobs in these areas, and often people can change industries, moving into these areas is still a good place to look.
Can you give me some good examples of jobs in these fields?
Well, for example, teachers and trainers are great in education. In a food industry, it could be any kind of job. It might be an accountant, it might be sales. These are core industries that are businesses that require people of all kinds.
Okay, let's say I've just been laid off and I'm getting a severance package and I have a lot of money in savings and I'm thinking, you know what, I'm gonna just take some time out and figure out my life. Is that a good idea or is that a bad idea?
You know, you just can't afford to do that right now. You have to get a fast start into the search. In the beginning, when you start looking, companies are saying, I might be finding someone here nobody else has found. The longer you're out of work, the more they say, well, why hasn't someone else hired you? So you've got to get at it right now. You can't take too much time to look for it. You've got to be open to things like, say, changing industries or even locations in this tough job market.
Is there a magic number like I should only be out of work X amount of time before a prospective employer might say, you know, what's with that?
No, not really. But we're seeing average search times now up about 4.5 months. That's about a third higher than we see normally. So it's not this, I'm going to be out of work for a year that sometimes I hear, but it is getting tougher and you have to be really working hard at the search.
If you have a job, but you don't like the job you're in, what's your advice?
Well, even if you're frustrated with your job, this is a time when you have to hold on to that job. You've got to wave the company flag. You've got to prove that you're indispensable. Because if they start to see you're looking, then maybe they'll say, here's someone else who wants a job in a layoff. Why should we keep the person who's open to looking? And think about it. There are a lot of people out there who'd like your job.
In the final seconds, is the stigma of not having a job gone because of the state of our economy?
It really is. Everybody who's laid off and goes to see someone knows that the person they're seeing is in the same position. The boss is just as vulnerable to layoff as you are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of no-fault job loss out there. We all have that free pass.
John Challenger, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Up next, has Michael Phelps been given a pass over his alleged pot smoking? We'll talk to a former Olympic gold medalist who almost lost his medal after testing positive for marijuana. You're watching The Early Show on CBS.
This portion of The Early Show is sponsored by Weight Watchers, introducing the new Momentum program. Weight Watchers, stop dieting, start living.
Well, the late night comics had some fun with Michael Phelps. The Olympic gold medalist photographed smoking what appeared to be marijuana. Here's CBS's Craig Ferguson.
Here's some controversy for you. I don't think he should apologize. Don't. Come on! You're a 25-year-old guy smoking a bong. What is he, 23? 102? Who cares? He's at a party smoking a bong. Look, I'm not advocating marijuana or whatever the kids call it today. Michael Phelps is a young man. He's not competing right now. That's a big deal. Oh, come on.
And this comes from Ferguson, who has not had a drink in many, many years.
But he raises an interesting question. Is Michael Phelps basically getting off easy? Have attitudes changed on role model smoking pot?
Or was it medical
reasons?
reasons?
That debate. Could be.
Good morning to you. 7:25 is your time right now, and this is the view of Century City in the foreground and downtown in the background. Beautiful live picture for you this morning. It is Tuesday. I'm Suzanne Rico, and here's what's happening. The deadline looming now for California budget negotiators. If they don't reach an agreement by Friday, state workers will be sent home on unpaid furlough. Talks resumed yesterday in Sacramento after lawmakers missed a weekend deadline for the budget deal. The state faces a $42 billion budget deficit and could go broke later on this month. Investigators in Chino say it was a police shooting that killed an innocent man. The Sunday night gun battle at Papa John's pizza restaurant left 2 suspects and an officer wounded, plus that innocent man dead. Now we've learned the dead man was 21-year-old Daniel Baldron of Rubidoux. He was next door at a McDonald's eating dinner when police say they mistook him as a suspect. Henry DiCarlo coming in with the 2-view Doppler forecast. We've needed to feel a little bit more like winter. Henry, can you deliver?
No, well, you know what? I think Mother Nature can. We'll get there in a couple of days. Temperature is going to cool down, maybe even throw in a chance of some rain. No rain today, plenty of sunshine. Long Beach coming in with a gorgeous shot. Temperature-wise today, we are in the 80s, and if you're not there, you're in the upper 70s. So a fine forecast. The Inland Empire today in the low 80s. 80 downtown, increasing clouds tomorrow. Still warm, 75 above average, but a big cool down Thursday. Increasing clouds bringing a chance of rain Thursday, Friday, maybe even a thunderstorm on Saturday. That's a long shot, but we're unsettled until about Tuesday of next week.
All right, Henry, thanks for the update. Tomorrow morning on CBS 2 News starting at 5 a.m., make cleaning your home easier than ever. We test a so-called miracle cloth, and the results are shocking. Tomorrow morning on CBS 2 News between 5 and 7 a.m. Looking for that miracle commute? Vera Jimenez tells you where you can find it with Time Saver Traffic 3D.
Well, we welcome you back to the early show. So warm in New York yesterday. This guy has an amazing story to tell. Bizarre incident during the middle of a parachute jump, all right? The skydiving instructor, these guys are tied together, all right? And the instructor dies in midair.
While strapped to him.
We're going to tell you what happened after that. Welcome back to the early show. Also, so far, there seems to be little fallout for Michael Phelps following publication of that photo showing him inhale what looks like to be inhaling from a marijuana pipe. Should there be outrage? We're asking an Olympic medalist who nearly lost his gold medal after testing positive for marijuana.
Also ahead this morning, the stars shine and they dine. We're going to take you inside the lunch for the Oscar nominees.
And too much salt at that lunch or at your breakfast can increase blood pressure and lead to all kinds of health problems. This morning, we're going to take a quiz. Do you know how much salt is in some common foods? You might be surprised.
But first, Russ Mitchell is at the news desk. Good morning, Russ.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. This morning, President Obama will announce that New Hampshire Senator Judd Gregg is his choice for Commerce Secretary. If confirmed, Gregg would be the 3rd Republican in the Obama cabinet. And Eric Holder was sworn in this morning as Attorney General. He was confirmed by the Senate yesterday. Holder is the first African-American to serve as Attorney General. And Detroit's former mayor, Kwame Kilpatrick, was released from jail early this morning. Kilpatrick served 99 days for perjury, obstruction of justice, and misconduct. And now back to Harry.
All right, thanks very much, Russ. So far, there hasn't been much negative reaction to the photo showing Olympic gold medalist Michael Phelps smoking what appeared to be marijuana. A few years ago, it might have ruined his career. Maybe it's a sign of changing attitudes. CBS News correspondent Randall Pinkston has more.
With gleaming gold medals, Michael Phelps' picture adorns swimming pools around the country. But this picture of Phelps smoking marijuana has fans questioning his judgment.
He has like 8 gold medals. You think he'd be smarter about like the decisions he's making.
John Collins has coached 3 swimmers who later became Olympic champions.
Would you kick him off your team? I don't think so. I mean, I think Michael is someone who has a lot of qualities that are worth saving.
And this parent does not condemn Phelps.
Part of life is making choices. Sometimes we make the right choice, sometimes we make the wrong choice. He's going to learn from this choice.
The seeming lack of outrage may reflect America's changing attitudes towards marijuana, an estimated $30 billion industry in the United States alone. While a majority of Americans still oppose legalization, a new CBS News poll shows a big swing in opinion in recent years. 27% supported legalization in 1979, 41% support it today. Even attitudes from the nation's leaders have changed. While Bill Clinton famously said he tried it but never inhaled, President Obama has acknowledged he did try marijuana while in high school. Phelps, who hopes to earn $100 million in endorsements, will soon learn whether enough has changed for the continued support of his sponsors and fans. Randall Pinkston, CBS News, New York.
Joining us from Vancouver is Ross Rebliati, a 1998 Olympic snowboarder who almost lost his gold medal after testing positive for marijuana. We're also joined by Joe Califano, chairman of the National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse. Good morning to you both.
Morning, Harry.
Good morning.
Ross, I want to go back to your story and just to help refresh people's minds. You win the gold. After the gold medal has already been awarded, you test positive for marijuana. What happens?
Exactly. I tested positive for marijuana. They basically stripped my medal from me right away, and I went through 2 appeals, which I lost both of, before I went to the Court of Arbitration, in which they just reviewed the list of banned substances and found marijuana not to be on that list, and then quickly reinstated me.
So you got your gold medal back. What is your reaction to what has happened to Michael Phelps in the last couple of days?
Well, I think Michael's experience, I felt like I could understand, what he was going through. It was definitely something that would be traumatic for him to have to experience. And, he'd be reviewing, some of his, thought processes, and, maybe he could, make some better decisions in the future. But, I definitely related with the idea that, maybe some decisions weren't made, correctly in the past, and you can, look forward to changing and being a better person in the future.
Joe, your reaction to this, because there was no more greater sort of iconic sports figure in America, maybe even around the world in the last year or two, than Phelps. This picture gets published, and there's this kind of a collective shrug around the country.
Well, I think there is something of a shrug, but I do think, you notice even that he himself issued a statement saying that he thought his conduct was not appropriate. I think the point is, he is an iconic sports figure. He is a model for kids. And this whole issue of marijuana really should be looked at in terms of kids, teenagers, because most people will never smoke pot if they don't smoke it while they're teens.
But if they make it to 21 and don't smoke, the chance of them smoking is almost non-existent, right?
Exactly. And we know today's marijuana is much stronger than the marijuana the parents smoked in the 70s. There are more kids in the United States in treatment for marijuana dependence than there are for alcohol dependence. And we know a lot more about its impact on the developing brain as we learn more and more about neurology here. So I think it's important for Phelps to indicate kids shouldn't do it. He's essentially said that.
Right.
But I'd like to hear him say it a little louder and a little more firmly.
Ross, let me ask you this. As an Olympic athlete, you know what it takes in terms of the dedication and everything else in order to get yourself to the top of that podium. This is a guy who's done it in a way no one has ever done it before. Some people are saying, give the guy a break. My God, the guy has dedicated his entire life to sport. Should he be crucified for perhaps a moment's lapsed judgment?
Absolutely not. Michael Phelps is a great person in the pool and out of the pool. I think that, the societies are coming together right now and realizing, that marijuana is not a dangerous substance when you compare it to the likes of alcohol and smoking tobacco. Not to mention that, but as an athlete, you have to seriously consider whether you're going to consume alcohol. Which is extra calories to your diet. It's going to make, you're not going to feel that great in the morning. It's fat-free, too. You got to consider these things. So, honestly, it's like it's the lesser of the two evils.
All right, very quickly.
It's hardly the lesser of two evils. Marijuana is a dangerous drug. It's bad for kids. Alcohol is also bad for kids. There's no question about it.
All right. Joe, Ross, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Do appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Good to see you. All right. Dave is somewhere with another check of the weather. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning to you, Harry. Nice to see you. We're outside on 59th and 5th, right in the center of Manhattan. And as you can see, we have a beautiful Central Park behind us. It is leafless and it is gray as we say good morning to you. A cold air beginning to push on into the northeast. And in fact, bitter air, Arctic air, rolling into sections of the Ohio Valley. And again, areas where we're already seeing power out, or still seeing power out, I should say. You're going to see temperatures in the teens. All right, I'll be done in a minute, okay? That's what happens when you do weather in New York. Now let's take a look at the Southwest. Temperatures still in the 80s there. Big changes rolling in towards the end of the week, though. We are going to see some rain, some cooler temperatures, taking out some of the particulates in the air. Air quality has not been great down there, and the cold air is going to filter down south as well. So we're going to see a change in the temperatures as you head to places around North Florida and into the southeast. That's a quick look at the national map. Here's an early look at what's going on in your area.
Thank you very much, Dave. We're taking a live look outside along the coast. Gorgeous conditions, some more sunshine. 83 for you in Ontario. 71, Palmdale, Apple Valley, 69, in the Inland Empire, some low 80s. Changes by Thursday with a chance of rain and some cooler weather. Suzanne?
Henry DiCarlo, thanks for that. I'm Suzanne Rico. Tomorrow morning starting at 5 a.m., make cleaning your home easier than ever. We test a so-called miracle cloth, and the results are shocking. Tomorrow morning on CBS 2 News between 5 and 7 a.m. Let's go back to the early show.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, I'll be doing weather from a toll booth at the Lincoln Tunnel. That's a quick look at your weather picture from 59th and 5th. Maggie, inside to you.
I think you're getting bored. I think we have to send you to some freezing destination again.
Yeah.
Be careful, Dave.
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Coming up next, what has more salt, your latte or your Raisin Bran? We're going to have a quiz on sodium in popular breakfast foods and why it matters here on The Early Show on CBS. Today in Health Watch, dietary salt. Here in New York City, the health department has launched a campaign to reduce salt in processed and restaurant foods. We're joined this morning by Samantha Heller, a dietitian and contributor to Health Magazine. Good morning, Samantha.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Same to you. Why is this a concern?
You know, sodium, which we think of as table salt, comes in many forms. It contributes to high blood pressure, cardiovascular risk factors like stroke, heart disease, kidney problems. If we lower our sodium intake, we could save 150,000 lives a year.
Wow.
It's a big deal.
What is the recommended daily intake?
Recommended daily intake is 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. I know that sounds like a lot, but 1 teaspoon of table salt, a little teaspoon, is 2,400 milligrams of sodium.
2,400 in 1 teaspoon, and what's the recommended daily?
2,300.
What? So 1 teaspoon has more than the daily recommended?
Right. Now, the reality is I don't think we'll all get to 2,300 milligrams, but the more aware you are of the sodium in your diet.
I think I'm confused. How much is in 1 teaspoon?
1 teaspoon, 2,400 milligrams. The recommendation is 2,300
so
milligrams.
So this has more than the daily?
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's right.
Now, you brought a little quiz because you think most of us don't realize how much is in our food.
220 milligrams of sodium. Maggie, which food do you think has that?
Well, I don't know. Let me see what my other options are.
You have these other options.
Oh, so which has the least? Well, coffee's a diuretic. I would think that sodium makes you retain water, so I'm going to guess this one for this. Wait, don't tell me yet. I want to guess them all.
All right.
One has the most. I'm going to guess the more processed. Wait, I'm almost done. And then these two are a toss-up. They're practically the same, so I don't know. It doesn't matter.
You're absolutely right. Now, no one
Am I really?
You're absolutely
Am
right.
I really?
You win. What does she win? A car?
I
Something?
never win.
A low-sodium life.
I never get these right. All right, go ahead.
Coffee, you know, as much sodium as some chips. Drink regular coffee. It's a coffee blended drink. Cottage cheese, not that we don't love cottage cheese, but go for low sodium versions. You know, it's the same as a slice of pizza. Muffins, some low fat muffins actually have more sodium. And cereal, if you make oatmeal, it doesn't have any sodium.
Oh, I love oatmeal. That's good.
Yeah.
If this was the Price is Right version of this game,
you would win.
I'd be rich.
You would be rich.
But I'm rich with a knowledge of this important topic
That's
now.
right.
Thanks a lot, Samantha Heller.
My pleasure.
Coming up next, we're going to take you inside the Oscar nominee lunch here on The Early Show on CBS. Thanks so much.
CBS Health Watch, sponsored by new contour meter from Bayer. Simple wins.
The Early Show continues now from the General Motors building in New York City.
The nominees for this year's Academy Awards attended an exclusive lunch. And Early Show national correspondent Hattie Kaufman was there.
Over 100 nominees came to shine and dine. Kate Winslet is hoping for a win after 6 nominations, while Mickey Rourke is this year's comeback kid.
Biggest change, I think, is people that I burnt bridges with seem to have forgiven me for the horrible way I carried myself.
Getting an Academy Award nomination changes an actor's life. They're caught up in the ultimate high of the award season.
Sometimes I feel like I have Tourette's because I'm driving along and everything is fine, and then I think about Oscar and I'm like, ah!
I get very emotional about these things. I discover, I think I'm not cut out for this. I'm too emotional to lose and I'm too emotional to win. So it's
okay, you know what? Fine.
When I was really little, though, I confused the Oscars and the Miss America pageant a lot. So I would pull out my tinfoil crown that I would wear for the Miss America pageant and put it on for the Oscars. My parents never corrected me.
only Frank Langella seemed to take it in stride.
But I don't really think that suddenly I'm going to turn into one of those actors, who makes millions and millions of dollars and stars in films holding a gun like them.
Hattie Kaufman, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
Still ahead, Scarlett Johansson on her new film and the unwritten rules about dating. You're watching The Early Show on CBS.
Absolutely beautiful picture live this morning, looking from Malibu out across the Pacific toward Catalina Island. Blue skies above, blue ocean down below at 7:55 on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, I'm Ken Shockney. Here's what's happening. More questions this morning surrounding the killings of a man and his secretary in a Stanton mobile home sales office. 42-year-old Matthew Scott and also 49-year-old Elizabeth Palmer were found dead behind Palmer's desk yesterday morning at Golden Sun Homes on Beach Boulevard. Orange County Sheriff's deputies say there were no signs of a struggle, no apparent motive, and they have few clues. They'll not yet confirm how the two were killed, but deputies are looking for the victim's vehicle, a car that belonged to Palmer, a white four-door Lexus with the California license plate 5FYP194. They're asking anyone with any information to contact the Orange County Sheriff's Department. And investigators in Chino say it was one of their officers who shot and killed an innocent man in a police shooting over the weekend. The Sunday night gun battle at a Papa John's pizza restaurant left 2 robbery suspects and an officer wounded, plus that innocent man killed. Now we've learned this was the dead man, 21-year-old Daniel Ballardran of Rubadu. He was next door at a McDonald's when police say they mistook him as a suspect. Weather-wise, enjoy at least one more day of clear skies and warm temps before we look at the chance of rain after tomorrow. Meteorologist Henry DiCarlo has your 2V Doppler forecast. Henry?
Yeah, something we haven't talked about in a while. This gorgeous view from Long Beach of the Queen Mary. The sun is out. Temperatures will be warm once again. Let's check out the numbers for you. 80 degrees today downtown. Sunny and breezy. The wind's starting to quiet down. Increasing clouds tomorrow. Still nice, 75. Thursday and Friday, chance of rain, Kent. Some cooler weather, below average, in fact, 60s. A little unsettled Saturday and Sunday. Should be dry, but maybe some dark clouds hanging around. And then it looks like Monday, Tuesday of next week, back to above average conditions, sunshine and warm.
Henry, thanks. Tomorrow morning on CBS 2 News, starting at 5 a.m., make cleaning your home easier than ever. We test a miracle cloth. The results are shocking. Tomorrow on CBS 2 News between 5 and 7 a.m. Time Saver Traffic is next.
This is a classical design we did in Milan. This is a postmodern residence. This design won 5 prestigious awards. Shaki headquarters in Kyoto. To see our architecture, you don't look around the corner, you look around the world. So, what can I do for you?
Design a house around this.
If you have excellence on your mind, then C2 is the place for you.
C2 has increased my SAT scores, and now I'm able to get into the school of my dreams.
When I first took it, I got a 1340, and I think at the end of 3 months, I got a 1780.
At C2, I feel like I have a friend that's teaching me.
It becomes more than just a student-teacher relationship. It becomes a lifelong relationship.
It's awesome to be able to feel successful.
Building better students, creating happier families, assuring a better education. That's C2.
It's time to expose the truth about zero trans fats. Zero isn't really zero. In fact, it can be almost as much as half a gram per serving. And all that bad fat can really add up. Smart Balance, the buttery spread that's as close to zero trans fat as nature allows. Want to know more? Visit thetruthabouttransfat.com. Smart Balance Buttery Spread, where great taste meets good health.
Good morning, everyone. As we take a look at your commute this morning, it's going to be a slow go, stop and go drive as you make your way out of the North Hollywood area all the way into downtown Los Angeles. Speeds only averaging between 19 and 11 miles per hour. And that's a look at traffic. Now it's back to the early show.